Now, he's the star of stage and screen who shot from humble beginnings to become one of Britain's most acclaimed actors.
Yeah, from his world-renowned Shakespearean performances to Hollywood film roles and, of course, his portrayal of the ruthless media mogul Logan Roy in the hit series Succession. Brian Cox has over 240 credits to his name.
But Brian says that his latest role in the West End show Long Day's Journey into Night has been his toughest to date. He joins us now to tell us more. You're doing 8 shows a week?
8 shows a week.
And well, it's a 3-hour long play?
Oh, yeah, on a matinee day, I have to get up at 10:30. Well, I get up earlier than that. Well, no, because I finished very late the night before. So I don't. So I have to be on the move from 10:30 for a 1 o'clock matinee, and then I do it again at 7 o'clock, and then by the time I get home, it's midnight.
So the question has to be asked, Brian, why are you doing it?
I have no, and I won't say the F word, but I have no idea.
Well, we had Sir Ian McKellen in last week, and he's playing Falstaff at the moment in the West End as well.
And he's just opposite me. He's just he's real pal.
And he said he was exhausted too.
Yeah, it's knackering. You know, we're not getting any younger. He's a little older than I am, but we're not getting any younger.
But equally, can't live without it.
Well,
the theatre, the performancing, there's a bug in there, Brian, that keeps coming back.
Yeah, it's the conditioning, really. You know, if you've trained in this country and we are the theatre. That's what we do more than anybody, and we do it better than anybody else. Well, we don't always do it better. That's not true. That's a generalisation. But it's a tradition. And, you know, having done 6 years of Succession, I thought, I really got to go back to the theatre. And I was wondering, what's the play I want to do? And this Long Day's Journey into Night was the play I wanted to do. And I wanted to do it with a particular actress called Patricia Clarkson, who is absolutely magnificent in the play. And I got my wish, and we're doing it.
Can you tell us a little bit about it? Because I know that there's elements of it that you really relate to your own childhood as well.
He's a product of... It's Eugene O'Neill's own story, but he tells it with different names of the characters.
Yes.
He uses the name Tyrone instead of O'Neill. And it's about his family, and it's about him... as a young man, he's about 23 in the play, and he's got an elder brother who's a complete alcoholic. And he has a mother who's a morphine addict, and she's just in a state of recovery. And then his father was this quite well-known actor who became a sort of matinee idol when he was young, called James O'Neill, James Tyrone in the play. And his great thing was he did the Count of Monte Cristo, which he toured, but he felt that he sold himself out because he came from Ireland when he was 10. He worked in a machine shop learning to make files for getting 50 cents a week. So he had a very rough start to his life, and then he was quite good looking when he was young. He became this matinee idol. And so there's a lot of elements like my background, which I had my level of poverty, and also being Irish, of Irish, you know, extraction. And also my family all came at the same time, what they call the Great Hunger, what I would call the famine.
Yes.
That's when they all came. My people went to Scotland. A lot of people went to America, including James O'Neill's family. So that's what the story is about. He wrote the play. It was the last play, the penultimate play he ever wrote. And it was a play that he used to come out every day crying. He would be pouring with tears, Eugene O'Neill. And he also wrote the play, and it was never to be performed. It was a play that he should hope to be published 25 years after his death. But then he had this wife called Carlotta Monterey, whose real name was Hazel Thrashing. And,
That's a great name.
Wow.
She then was persuaded by a very successful director in the 50s to do a production of Long Day's Journey. And she said, on one of her conditions was that she got a case of Courvoisier a month.
Oh,
a month?
Nice.
A month.
One case a month?
Yes.
Sounds like my kind of woman.
We can imagine what she went through.
Hazel thrashings indeed.
Yes, exactly. Quite thrashing, quite a lot. So anyway, she did that, and the play went on. And again, it was never meant to be performed. It was meant to be read, and 25 years after his death. So I don't know what he would have made of it, but then he was dead, so he wouldn't know any difference, yeah.
Fabulous part for you, particularly after, as you say, the years doing Succession and Logan Roy. And I've interviewed plenty of times. I've interviewed a number of times about Logan Roy and Succession. I wonder where that character sits for you, Logan Roy, in the vast range of characters you've played.
Well, you know, I can't ignore it. It was one of the great parts of all time, you know, and it had its... And I was able to kind of make a sort of... I mean, I think Logan, for me, was very misunderstood. Because all he wanted to do was have these kids of his, who are totally useless. He wanted them, one of them, to take over the business.
Yes.
You know, he was hard, he was tough, he was self-made. But it was just one of those gifts. And what I loved about it was its spareness. He never overplayed.
No.
He was always, he came in at that level. And of course, that's thanks to the wonderful Jesse Armstrong and his incredible team of writers. You know, so it was a great experience.
Yeah.
And I love that your heritage had an impact on Logan, though, because you started off recording the series and he was somewhere from Canada.
Oh, yeah, but
halfway
he
through
was,
series
well,
one, he was
exactly,
suddenly
in the
from Dundee.
9th episode. And the 9th episode of the first series, Peter Friedman, who plays Frank, who I keep hiring and firing and rehiring, he said, oh, by the way, they've changed your birthplace. And I said, what do you mean they've changed my birthplace? I was born in Quebec, Canada. I've been playing this kind of monkey, mid-Atlantic Canadian. He said, no, apparently you're born... And I said, where? And he said, well, I can't remember. Then we got it, and he said, oh, yeah, somewhere called Dundee, Scotland. I said, that's where I was born. So, of course, now the people in Dundee are very happy because we did a whole episode called Dundee, which we went back to Dundee. And it was kind of weird to go back playing that role, who had such a difficult time, and I didn't have a too easy time too because of what happened. Except I didn't notice; I just got on with it.
Yeah.
But it was kind of weird.
And we have to talk about the funeral. So you were on your way to do the scene, and they said, "Oh no, don't come! It's the funeral."
Right.
And then you said, "No, I should come in case there's any paparazzi."
Well, that's right, and and I changed it. They said you can go home, and I said no. And as soon as I walked out of the car, the paparazzi were there, so that helped kind of quell the idea that it was my funeral, you know.
There was a headline, wasn't there? So you were there, and they listed, so who's died? That was the point.
Yeah.
They had that picture of you.
Right, that's right.
I'm fascinated, because in amongst your very busy working schedule, you're now going to be directing as well, Brian.
Yeah.
I mean, is it the first time you've directed?
I'm an idiot. No, I am. I am a classified idiot. I mean, at my age, that's how old I am.
No, it doesn't.
I finally decided that I'm going to direct a film in Scotland called Glenrothen, and I'm going to have Alan Cummings playing the lead, Shirley Henderson. So we've got some great actors in it, and it's a great script written by a wonderful writer who I've been working with since 1999. I do radio. Do you remember radio?
Vaguely,
I love radio, and I did a series called McCleavey, which was about an Edinburgh detective, which I did for a whole number of years. And David wrote that, and then he came up through Neil Zeiger, who's a mutual friend and a producer. He came to David and said, write this, Brian, direct it. And I'm going, I've never directed, you know.
I love it. I love it. Always time to do a new experience.
Well, that's the great thing, you know. When you get to my age, you think, what's new? But it's always new.
Well, thank you for joining us this morning.
My pleasure.
The play is on until June 8th.
The Loose Women are up next. Oh, yes, quickly,
This is important. There are 50 seats available.
At £25 per show.
£25 every night.
Amazing.
OK?
There you go.
That's
We've got
brilliant.
Sorry.